Akşam earlier at the lunch, but they didn't know how long to get back. But I was just talking, I didn't know how long it would take for me to get back home. But yeah, we going be watching the West Tigers second the Canberra Raiders. Yep. And Broncos still have a chance again in top 8, but which is not gonna happen because the Tigers need to West Tigers need to beat the Canberra Raiders 52 points.
What they've been able to do to get up to this point, 18 wins for the season, but as you just mentioned, it's been the way that they've gone about it.
What's up, man?
I believe they've won very pretty different stages, but they continue to win.
Good, I'll be right back.
It all means nothing yet moving to next week. We've all played semi-finals. They go there and beat Elf. That was obviously a priority. They had Super Talakai go off the end of the game with what would be a bit of a concern, but he looks all right. Yeah. So they move into next week. Maybe Kennedy comes back into their team next week. So they go there with good health and sitting second.
A huge difference between a final points bet in front of the home crowd in Shire going up to Townsville.
25 degrees at kick-off last night in Townsville, and the humidity through the springtime up there, it's difficult to play under when you've been stuck in the middle of a Sydney winter. It's been cold here, and wet. To go up there would have been really challenging for them. Look, I think some big inclusions that they need, and they'll need to make sure they're there next week. Dale Finucane has to be in the middle. I think for them to be able to beat the Cowboys, they need Toby Rudolph back. They need that power, that aggression, and that line speed from Rudolph back. Now, the thing out of today, whilst it might not have meant something for a lot of players, I think it's elevated Lockie Miller into that number 14 jersey for a whole series. He played well. With Will Kennedy coming back to fullback, who knows how his body is? I'd be having Lockie Miller out here under 17.
Let's get to McDonald's Jones Stadium. Wade Graham is standing by. Wado, you got the job done this afternoon. You've had, first of all, congratulations. What a season, finishing second in the regular season. You got that home semi-final back in front of the home fans. How much does that mean to you and the team?
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, it's probably something we've never realised was on the cards until late in the season. I've never played a finals back at PointsBet Stadium. It means so much to our members and fans. So to be able to host a home semi, it's certainly going to be a special night for the club, and we'll be looking forward to the contest.
Wayno, it's Mick. Congratulations, brother. Enormous achievement, mate, to finish second in that regular season. Just talk to us a little bit about today. It was 12 all at half time. Things weren't perfect in that first half, but I think the fact that you got it together in the second half is probably leaves you in good stead a little for next week as well.
Yeah, definitely. Just, we didn't get our energy right at the start. A couple of fundamental errors sort of put us under pressure, and there's a lot of energy in the Newcastle team today. All boys stay up here, they play with a lot of emotion, and they just probably pipped us in that physical department early, but once we got to half time, we had a chance to settle and have a really good chat to each other. We came out in the second half and found our groove. So an important lesson for us. Obviously, we can't repeat that, missing the start next week, but we'll certainly take the win and we'll head back to Cronulla and we'll start prepping on next week.
Well, Wade, again, you've had a great season. You got the job done this afternoon. Well done. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks, boys.
Here's Wade Graham. A very important game this afternoon, as we spoke about. Let's get to the next one. West Tigers home at Leichhardt Oval against the Canberra Raiders. Canberra Raiders through the finals after the Broncos lost last night.
There is a chance.
Well, there is a chance.
There is a chance.
What's the matter?
Well, it's You're saying there's still a chance.
Tip.
The Raiders won't play.
Okay. Two of them.
Fucking hell, man.
It's the everyday moments together that matter most when your child is seriously ill. You can help family life carry on at Ronald McDonald House Charities. Donate today. You're getting more than you think for less than you expect on a range of 5G phones from $399, all on Australia's best network.
Australian deodorant, fresh bits and bits.
I have very dry, patchy skin.
I went to a dermatologist. He recommended CeraVe.
What sets CeraVe apart are the ceramides.
People are like raving about CeraVe.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I need that glow. It encompasses everything that the skin needs to be well hydrated. The way it takes off my makeup is incredible.
I have been actually recommending it to all my friends.
Her skin routine's so amazing, her skin's so flawless. I take a few tips from her.
Get CeraVe for a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
Harvey Norman. Save up to $600 on selected Miele laundry packs, like this perfectly paired Miele front loader and heat pump dryer. This Samsung pack, just $2,694 plus $200 cash back. Receive up to a bonus $200 gift
You
card
go,
on
mate.
selected laundry packs, like this king-size LG pack, now $3,096. Or this stunning Fisher & Paykel graphite pack plus bonus $200 gift card. See the specialists now at Harvey Norman.
With 3.5-ton towing capacity and trailer sway control, the Isuzu D-Max is born to tow.
The Monopoly game at Macca's is back, and with $578 million worth of prizes, you can win a $10,000 Webjet gift card, free fuel for a year with Ampol, and more. Download the My Macca's app and play today.
$23,984 to go.
At Hungry Jack's, fall in love with the new Memphis Jack's Fried Chicken. Bacon, onion rings, and barbecue sauce. Memphis Jack's Fried Chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Yeah, I hated watching the game with mates because the Ashley and Martin adverts would come on and they'd always be like, is it time for your turning point, TT?
Make today your turning point, and the doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
It's game 2 on the Sunday ticket. One last chance for the fans of the Tigers to make their way to what they call the 8th wonder of the world, Leichhardt Oval. But the Tigers hosting the Raiders, a game that potentially had so much riding on it, the loss by the Brisbane Broncos to the St George Illawarra Dragons yesterday, meaning the Raiders, they'd have to be beaten here by 54 points to miss out on that 8th and final spot in the playoffs in 2022. Hi everybody, Warren Smith, Greg Alexander and Jake Duke to take you through the final game of the regular season. And Greg, it's been a lean old year for the Tigers, quite obviously. Just 4 wins from 23 games so far. 1 win and 10 losses under the interim coach in Brett Kamali. But they can finish the season on a bit of a high note if they could cause an upset here today.
Yeah, well, look, the Broncos losing last night has taken all the pressure off the Raiders. The Tigers would love a win at Leichhardt Oval. This is only their 3rd game at their spiritual home. They've beaten the Dogs here. They had a very competitive loss against the Eels. They went down 28-20 in that one. So their form has been pretty good, even though very few games there. Now, Brisbane's loss last night has afforded Ricky Stewart the luxury of resting a couple of players. Jack Whiten won't be playing in this one. Elliot Whitehead also out of the match, so Matt Frawley will come in at 5'8". Corey Hattawira-Naidoo comes in off the bench to start the back row, and the new player on the bench is Alpha Popolone. Careful to lose the game, Ross, as you're right, but they can't afford to lose by more than 53 points, which I can't see happening, but we'll see what unfolds here at Leichhardt Oval.
It is hard to imagine what has been a very grey, overcast and sometimes rainy day in Sydney has brightened up remarkably, and a strong wind blowing from the south in the first half, which will favour the Canberra Raiders, who will have the use of that. The hill fairly well populated, fans no doubt still making their way down Mary Street, down the hill towards this famous rugby league venue. There's been lots of talk about Leichhardt Oval in recent times, about its future and where it lies in the rugby league landscape. I guess we'll find out That's heading into the 2023 season. There's some kisses, there's bubs being handed out galore here by the wives and partners of players. And James Darmo leads out the Tigers in what will be his final appearance for the premiership winner. Cowboys back in 2015, time at the Panthers. Brett Naden hits the field here as well. And it's quite the family scene. And Tyrone Beattie signed until the end of 2023 with the Tigers, but may well be on his way back to the foot of the mountains. There's plenty of talk that he might be in a player swap, Randy, with Charlie Staines. Now, I know you're high up on the board there, of course, and the Penrith Panthers, but we'll wait and see what transpires in the next couple of weeks, potentially, between Charlie Staines and maybe Tyrone Peachey doing a bit of a club swap.
Well, Tyrone Peachey, one of the players coming back for this game after missing the last couple. He'll start off the interchange bench. James Darmo, as you said, back for his last game with the Tigers, sitting last week out suspended. And we've got Kenny Mamalu, who we just saw on the picture there, playing wing. Luke Dana comes into the centres. But the Raiders find themselves in this position because they're very good back end of the season. They've won their last 3, they've won 6 of their last 7. And at a stage last year, early in the year, they were sitting 15th after round 7.
Would you please be upstanding to observe a moment's silence in recognition of Canberra Raiders chairman Dr. Alan Hawke AC, who lost his battle with cancer this week. Dr. Hawke served on the Raiders board for almost 20 years and has been club chairman for the past 8 years. His leadership and vision will long be remembered and regarded by the Canberra Raiders and the National Rugby League. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Alan Hawke, a mentor to Don Ferner and Ricky Stewart, and amongst being tremendous rugby league man with that decorated career serving the Canberra Raiders, he also served his country in many capacities, including as the High Commissioner of Australia to New Zealand. Some long battle with cancer during the week, and our thoughts with his wife Maria, daughter Stephanie, and the family and friends of a great Australian in Dr. Alan Hawke. We're underway here at Waikato with Tigers running into this strong southerly in the first half. The sun is shining in the final game of 2022 in the minor premiership, and it's Josh Papali'i who will get things underway here for the Raiders. Coming off a big win last week down there at GIO Stadium, 48 points to 6. That was a massive win, which really put the pressure on the Brisbane Broncos. And of course, we know what happened yesterday at Cochrane. Here's Adam Elliott, who'll be off to the Newcastle Knights next season. He'll take beyond the 40 here and some good meters in the opening plays by the Raiders. Simon Carruthers, Zach Wood, there's a 40-inch slip. Raiders Simon, his father, Zach working in for a dummy half from a colleague, of course, right here at Fox League was the man known as the Germ, Papali'i. Take it down just outside the Tigers 40. Now Tarpin, one of the form forwards of the competition throughout 2022. His form has been remarkable. Big meters here. But the wind at their backs, they haven't needed it here to begin with. Frawley in there for Wyden today, playing on this left-hand side of the field. Laurie under pressure here will just stay in the field of play for the Tigers, and they'll work it away from the corner through Dewey and get a penalty. The Raiders not being square at mark.
Yeah, disappointingly there, the Raiders giving up what was a very good set. At the post-contact meters out those first 4 runs, Josh Papali'i taking 2 of them, Tarpany taking a couple, were enormous, which had the Tigers coming off their own line, but the Raiders just a bit too keen out of marker and giving away a penalty.
Stafford with the tackle, line pass there. Difficult to pass those long ones, especially running with the breeze. The Tigers have that advantage of maybe the ball bending onto them into this first half. And there's an example of it there as Manu Brown again playing in the lock forward role as he did last week in that narrow loss, the heartbreak against the Dragons at Combank Stadium. Simpkin from dummy half comes across to Tabo. Stopped here and tackled by Tarbin. They are one-on-one stealing specialist, the Raiders. No suggestion of one there. And Simpkin goes down the short side. Madden to Langi. Well, steam up there. They take him down just outside the Raiders' 10. From Nathan. Comes back to Madden, who will kick again. But Breeze holding this one up. Dewey flying. Dumps it out the back. Picked up by Sebastian Chris. And the Raiders begin just outside their own 10.
Well, the Raiders able to clean that one up, but the Tigers' first set was pretty good too. They had the Raiders' defence backpedaling through that set, made good meters. We'll see what they can do defensively though. First set was a worry.
Silver comes across to Xavier Savage. Just get James Nickel good start. On the outside looking in this run towards the finals. And an exciting young play. Hudson Young. More down Dewey. Massive defensive issues, quite obviously a couple of weeks ago at the SCG Dewey. Might have picked up an ankle problem here in that tackle on Hudson Young. The kick is a deep one. Laurie going back to the hard work to the back three at that northern end, the Parramatta River end of Leichhardt Oval in this game today. Here is Kemba Marlaw returning from a groin problem. Available for the last game of the season. Now Naden. He's a big rangy winger. Some carry, but boy, good stop there by Elliott and also Tarpon. So offer him go. Breeze. It really has blasted up here this afternoon as the clouds have cleared. Warmer on the hill now than it was just even an hour ago. All involved in the tackle. On time. That was easy to do for the kick. Trying to punch it low into the breeze. It will bounce up here kindly for Savage. They'll bring it back. He's a sprint star as a teenager in high school. Through the junior ranks as well. And Queensland will play it there just outside the third. Here's Rutherford. As ever, he's carrying the energy he brings will be a big factor in deciding this contest for the Raiders this afternoon. The Quadri returns, also back from a groin injury, like the man he lines up against in Kemba Marlaw. Almost back to the halfway line, midway through the set. It's Elliott, makes his nose through the line. Nice carry there, stopped by Tuolungi eventually with Offa Galley. Goes back to Young, all the way from Tabo. Hands it off to Papali'i. Taken around the shoulders, no more, says the referee. And it's the last hit. Fogarty at the line, Glover, pressure on Naden. An awful bounce. It sits up here for Matt Timothy. And the Raiders grab first points.
I think it's already gone past it, mate. I'm happy with that.
We're just discussing what happened there, the collision between the Raiders player and Brent Nate there, and he's right. What the referee said, the ball had already gone past him. There was no recovering from Brent Nate. The kick from Jamal Fogarty always looked like it was going to cause some problems. Once it got through the defensive line, it stayed down low and continued to do that. Made it very tough for Brent Nate to pick it up on the run. Harawira Onara was the player that was coming through. And he just, well, there's a little push there, but Nate was going to have no effect on the ball, and Timoko was all over it anyway. So while there was contact, there was no way that Nate was getting himself back into play there.
I think you summed it up very nicely there. Naden beaten by the bounce. It was an awful one. While you would think the air is the issue as far as the back three today with the wind as it is, going to the ground has worked out nicely for Fogarty and Timokor. As you saw, has now scored 8 tries for the season. And the Raiders in 2022 have become big fans of the post-try breathing session. First made fashionable by the Warriors a couple of seasons ago. And despite Jack Whiten being unavailable, interesting, Randy, the Raiders are 4-0. In the 4 games that Jack Whiten has missed in 2022, they've won all of them.
Must have crossed Ricky's mind to rest more players. Joe Tarpany being so influential for the Raiders this year.
And a good kick first up from Jamal Fogarty. So it was a nice brother for score and Vic converts as well to make it 6 points to nil. Watch it again. Just a little deflection there off the toe of Joe. On the ball and come up with the try and a 6-0 lead. Let's go downstairs to Jake Jim.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Matty McCaw, his 8th try this season. He's played every game for the Raiders this year. He gives them a great start here on what is a fantastic afternoon. It's turned out to be a fantastic afternoon at Leichhardt Oval. Although the weather is cleared, it is still a bit slippery down here at ground level, and that wind just gets stronger and stronger as the minutes pass. So it is a really tough one for the Tigers to contend with here in the first half.
And certainly that graphic, the trees, big figs, the northern end, buffeting here this afternoon. Fogarty, Raiders back already at the halfway line, midway through this set. They can really set themselves up for a good performance today for a clash next week against the Melbourne Storm in that 5 versus 8 battle at Amy Park. And they've been there before in recent seasons. They won a massive finals game against the Melbourne Storm. The reason they couldn't do it again next week in week 1 of the 2022 finals. Fogarty puts it in the air. Pressure here on the Marwell. Laurie was able to lead it for the big Kiwi winger who is pushing his claims. Michael Maguire to be included in that World Cup team for October and November in the UK.
Yeah, another big set for the Raiders with the ball, and it was a Joe Tarpany offload. Got them the extra metres. Tarpany and Papali'i have been outstanding in that department this season. The Tigers will be under all sorts of pressure if they don't make the 2 big front rows up. Laurie with a good run.
With Marcus there, nobody at marker this time around, so Simpkin follows suit. Just like that, they pick up 30 metres. Brown gets the dummy hunt, a role he's quite familiar with, and Dewey, put him in the air, has Rapida backpedaling to his 10-metre line, runs at 3-man, and also off him Gowie. Good effort by the Tigers to make Canberra begin this set running into the breeze as they are. Under the breeze, they'll start things inside their own 20. Sebastian Chris leads the try scorers ranks for Canberra this year. Here is Kotrick. Chockridge for a while, back to the Nick Kotrick now, the back end 2022. Elliott, spins away there, keeps the ball alive. Young does likewise. Chris to Rapida, spins away from Stavatoa. He's got Sebastian Chris back on the inside, searching for number 14, and he gets it. He well stay alive and beat the cover defence. And what a lovely movement down this left edge by the Raiders from deep inside their own territory.
And the man that's been in terrific form for the Raiders has been Hudson Young, and it was his pass that was the money ball in this passage. Elliott starts it there as Hudson Young couldn't throw the conventional pass, just flicked it out with 2 hands, Rapida with the great fend on Stavatoa. And then Sebastian Chris, the Raiders' top try scorer, just too strong there for Dane Laurie. Just getting across the field as he hit the defensive line was Adam Elliott. And that's his ability, his footwork to get just on the outside of players, just a point of difference for the Raiders. He's not your typical middle. Yeah, it's not a good look there. Xavier Savage with a link.
Well, we've seen that a number of times, though, in the run towards the finals. And he's obviously carrying an injury that he's been able to work through in games, but last week it was the same story in Canberra, where very early in the game also he was limping away from a tackle. And there's the bump with Oppa and Gowie coming back in support. Don't know if that tweaked anything there, with him not expecting the contact, but he's been able to manage that and get through with some support from the sideline. Ricky Stewart last week said to him, got to work through it, Xavier, and he was able to do that and get through the rest of the game. And that 42-point win here is Fogarty to fire it between the uprights to defend off the breeze there. And it's a very fast start, isn't it? 12 points to nil. We've only had 11 minutes of action.
Yeah, great play there by Adam Elliott, as we saw the pass from Hudson Young, the fend from Jordan Rapiner. And just watching the collision there with Xavier Savage, he tread on the back of his foot, the back of his ankle, and that's why he was hobbling, but hopefully he can work it out.
Well, there's no Jack White and Jake Duke, but they're determined to put on a bit of a show here to really just fine-tune their form going into the finals, aren't they?
Yeah, they've absolutely started on fire, the Canberra Raiders. Sebastian Cruz, that's 8 tries in his past 8 games, and he's having a cracking season as Nick Kotrick goes straight through.
Oh, straight through the middle off the kick return from the restart. A fan, he was off and running and grabbed only just. They're on the front foot, and they might put on a big score here this afternoon if the Tigers can't find a bit of starch in their defensive line. Chance again. Lead inside Tigers territory. Tarpany taken down there by Tarbo and also Tuolungi. There's Wolford from dummy half. Fogarty. Frawley. A nice linking roll with Young on his left edge to begin the game. That's away from the early contact. Added up by Toller and also Dewey. Frawley. Second last play. Big spread again. Wolford goes to Savage. Hannah to Niner. Timothy. It goes away to Kotrick. What a powerful set by the Raiders who go to length on the field and they're scoring at will.
4 tackles into the kickoff set and they come up with another 4-pointer, the Raiders. And it was Nick Kotrick who started things from the kickoff. It's a rare thing that a player breaks through off a kickoff. It's rare because it shouldn't happen. You shouldn't bust the front line defence from the kickoff as Nick Kotrick did, who gets himself back out to his wing and 4 plays later scores in the corner. It could be a long afternoon for the Tigers. Great ball movement again from the Raiders. The try came down the left side. The last time Nick Kotrick gets this one, and it's already 16-0 in favour of the Raiders, despite no Jack White and no Elliott Whitehead. Ricky Stewart had the luxury of resting a couple of players with Brisbane losing last night. No pressure on the Raiders. What a start to the game by them.
16 points in just on 13 minutes. Seen some big scorelines, haven't we, in the run towards the finals, especially 2 weeks ago in round 23. The most points ever scored in the NRL era. And now Kotrick, who got things going. And well, he was a boom youngster, wasn't he, when he made his way into first grade with the Canberra Raiders and put himself an origin jersey early on, made the move to the Bulldogs, and that didn't work out. Here he is now, back in lime green and looking terrific, almost as good as the kicking Jamal Fogarty. That's tough to the breeze as it is in this first half. He's a big unit, isn't he? Have a look at him.
Yeah, he's a powerful man, and breaks tackles. The Dogs wanted him to play centre, and I didn't think that was ever going to work. And then, obviously, they needed to free up some money. They were paying him a fair bit. He went back to the Raiders, and he's had a very good season as the cameraman hits the deck.
Happy Father's Day to the cameraman.
Just watching the Tigers defence there, they had the numbers. There wasn't a whole lot of chat or effort there to mark up. You see the white card from up above.
As we said, off the top, I wonder its future holds as far as the venue. We're talking recent days about where it's going to be. Oh, a chance here for the Tigers. Well, they go short. They may as well because they're down 18 points to nil. Breeze blowing down that and gentleman to a lucky. And here's their first real chance. The ball at this end of the field. Simpkin gets the off-hand going play of the ball from Brown. Comes to Tarbo. Need to show something here to get their engine started today.
The replay box just shows the strength of the Breeze.
It's gathering, benefiting Madden, Laurie. It's there by Fogarty, lost the ball out the back. There's going to be a whistle though for the Raiders. They're not square at marker, I think was the call by the referee, Chris Sutton.
White, no, come back. White.
No problem there.
there, but it was back at the ruck, and so the Tigers will have it. Well, 6 more plays from inside the 20, running by 18 already. Run and gun Raiders to begin this one. Simpkin from dummy half. Comes across to Madden. To Lungy underneath. Can find a gap. Big strong running back rower off the Seagulls next season. Brown goes to Laurie. Here is Adam Toohey, held up there by Adam Elliott, and also Zach Wolford. Taking down 5 metres out, and he's got 3 plays in this set of 6. Simpkin. Mr. Brown steps off the left foot, almost got past Papali'i. There's a tackle made by Young, and also Wolford once again. Simpkin double pumps it. He finds Madden, tipped on by Laurie. It was Naden under pressure. Garner returning to danger. Concussion kept him out last week. Finds some space and just about goes all the way. Stopped by Elliott. Here's Brown. Head fake. He slips over, and that will be the changeover.
Well, first pressure on the Canberra defence on their try line. They withstood it. I don't mind you, Brown, even at 13. Just that footwork and speed can trouble the middle defenders. Garner with a good run, cutting back towards the centre of the field. So a couple of right points there through that set for the Tigers.
They asked some questions. The minimum requirement you look for today in round 25, last game of the season. Of course, here at Leichhardt as well. No point dying wondering today. Here is the kick by Phil. Here's a good one as well. Laurie had to get there, otherwise it was a big chance on being a 40-20, and he brings it down here. Dragged back by Chris Young. He'll begin inside the 20. Adam Dewey. Away from Matt Frawley, and the beating, coming back towards the middle, still standing there. Strong effort by Dewey. A reminder, as things stand, of course, and we're pretty much complete now. It's the Panthers versus the Eels in week 1. The Sharks with that victory today against Newcastle will host the Cowboys, who overnight were in 2nd place, relegated back to 3rd now. And the Storm will host the Raiders. Roosters up against the Rabbitohs. It's a terrific first week of the finals. The way things have panned out with all the rivalries there. Of course, the Western Sydney derby between 1 and 4, the Panthers and the Eels. You've got the old rivals as well, going back to 1908. Rabbitohs and the Roosters. Mentioned, of course, Raiders have a good record. Good games against the Melbourne Storm, 1-1 against them here in 2022.
They do. You go through those finals, and it's very hard to be confident about what's going to happen in any one of the 4 games.
A mistake by Rama, a touch there by the Tigers on the way through, making it a knock-on. Well, Ricky, pretty comfortably up there in the coach's box at the moment. They're crammed in here at Leichhardt. He had a goal further looking over the shoulder there with Andrew McFadden checking out the numbers from early on, and most importantly, 2 numbers on the board, the 1 and the 8. The Raiders have to worry about.
Both dummy halves having problems there. Jake Simpkin and Zach Wolford just getting things mixed up with their passing game. The Tigers with the ball back.
And beyond full time tonight, of course, Sunday night with Matty John. Special guest will be New Zealand coach Michael Maguire. Joining Matty and the boys, talking about the upcoming World Cup campaign. No doubt, a couple of questions about the Tigers, and it all played out for Madge. So that will be attack here, just outside the 20. Simpkin. He finds Gowie. Brown all sat on his back. Good tackle, and he lost it as well. Zach Wolford underneath the driving tackle and forces the mistake from the Tigers. It gets up a little bit dusty, does Manu Brown.
Well, he thought he'd take the little man off then, Zach Wolford. He thought he'd go straight at him. Tarpany played a part 2, so he had a bit of weight behind him with Joe Tarpany lending his shoulder to tackle with just the slightest of drops there from New Brown.
He's been very good, Zach Warford, during this leading role in the second half of the season. It's going so with all these wins by the Raiders, who started the season 2-6 in the first 8 rounds. And they're 11-4, 11 wins, 4 losses over the last 15 games coming into today. They're on track to make that 12 from their last 16. That's 18 points to nil. Midway through this first half, Warren Smith, Greg Alexander, and Jake Duke. The final game of the regular season from famous old Leichhardt Oval. The 8th wonder, living up to the reputation of the Tigers here today. Here's Chris. They're off and running again. He finds Rapana back on the inside. A 4th try in the opening quarter of the game for the Raiders. And they stack some numbers down the short side there. Something with old Tim Sheen's move. The old Raiders coach who will be the Tigers coach in 2023. Loves a short side Raiders. Look at this, all the numbers. They had an extra man there with Frawley back to the left-hand side, and Rapana scores untouched.
Yeah, nice play there from Frawley, just to engage the marker. That allowed Seth Chris, who played it beautifully through the dummy, got past Ken Mamalo, went around Mark Jordan Rapana on the outside, and then flicked back to the inside, and did a great job to hang on to that ball, pulled it in one-handed. They've only had 7 sets, the Raiders. They've scored 4. Scored 4 tries out of there. The 7 times they've had the ball, which is a pretty good strike rate. The Tigers, I hope it doesn't keep going at that ratio. Otherwise, it could be. When you're talking about the Tigers had to beat the Raiders by 50, it might be on the flip side here as Jordan Rapana gets the Raiders' 4th try. Just watch the work there from Sebastian Chris. Got on the outside and then spun himself around to deliver the pass. And yeah, Ricky loves it.
Hand in the air, waving and enjoying coaching his 220th game in charge of the Raiders, overtaking Tim Sheen. Speaking of the great Tim Sheen's, the most games coached for the Raiders in their club history. Sheen's won 68% of his games. His Stewards won 51% before today. The try converted. It's 24 points to nil, and watch it again. That is very much Tim Sheen's move. Sort of play the Tigers came up with regularly. Brett Hodgson chiming in down the short side back in 2005 with Scotty Prince and Benji Marshall and Robbie Farah. Tremendous spine they had in that premiership season, of course, some 17 years ago, and they've taken a leaf out of perhaps the Tim Sheen's book right there with that play.
Yeah, Stafford Tower in at marker, left Ken Mamalo on his own. So once he was committed to Frawley, Tower, it was a 2-on-1, and Chris handled it lovely.
The Tigers go short again. The ball breaks the play, which is all it has to do. The Raiders had numbers there on the 40 this time, and Sebastian Chris comes up with it. Here is Rapana. We've had not quite 23 minutes of play. It's 24 points to nil. And just 2 weeks ago, Brandy, near CG, I'm sure every Tigers fan in the day at Leichhardt will remember the scoreline against the Roosters was 72 points to 6. Most points the Roosters had scored in almost 85 years of rugby league. They can think what it could be today, because they can find something here. Here's Tillacourt running at Naden, rising back from Canberra here just outside the 10. On the last play, what a great ball, well handled out by Fogarty. As we go back to the short side, a chance out there. Kotrick is there, eventually. It falls for Laurie. Naden had a crack. Garner couldn't stick a fork in it. Laurie eventually did.
Yeah, but they're going to kick it straight back to the Raiders now. They went awfully close there to scoring try number 5. Fogarty picked up the ball after a loose pass hit the ground. He came back down the short side. Naden couldn't control it.
They go short, and they do get a result. Knocked back there by Tuolungi, and here is Manu Brown. So one short restart from the 50. They got the ball back. Another one here from a goal line drop. Boy, they did that.
Well, the short kick into the strength of this breeze makes it a weapon they should keep using. They've got a couple of results from it now. Good tackle there from outside the line. Ellie
up on Tom Freeburn, who's finished with a number of starts on this right edge. Paul Rectamoli and the Tigers to round out the season. Offered and Gout playing for Sydney. Goes back here to Brown, who getting behind the play of the ball. Well handled once again by Wolford, who's got his number. Dewey under pressure. Kick away in time, but it's wide, out on the full.
And that was the pressure from Wolford. Just rushing the kick of Adam Dewey there. It's very difficult to kick into the teeth of the breeze, and if you misspin it like Dewey did, well done, Wolford.
The biggest like crowd we've ever seen recent seasons here this afternoon, given just the 4 wins for the Tigers this year, but they are very quiet at the moment. Here's Fogan. Offload there from Tarpley, taken down by Moffat and Gowrie. 15 out from half-time. Still points in the offing here for the Green Machine. Elliott taken down by Brown. They're playing for Wolford. Pulls up their sleeve, but the lead, he goes inside the red zone. He stands and offloads. They're really something to go a factor, aren't they? These offloads for Canberra. Tarpley. Only 5 away. A player for Wolford. Goes down the short side. Here is Halloween and Nida. Runs towards Madden. Couldn't get the ball away with Tim McCall and Cochran on that right edge. Now they go through Wolford, and jumping the gun was Brent Naden, gives away a penalty.
Well, whichever one they're on, take it to Brent Naden or Jock Madden, not square at Barker.
It'll be a short price to score here in Canberra, because they've had 3 sets now, pretty much in succession. Halloween and Nida. Elliott Whitehead on the right edge today. Whitehead will be 18th man, but likely he would be required, so in effect being rested along with Jack Whitehead. As Elliott plays it, Wolford here, looks right, comes back to the left, Harpany, forces his way through Simpkin and also Freeburn. Wolford will keep going left-hand side. Hudson Young, he's a try sneak par excellence. And he scores here, try number 5 for the Raiders. And they are still beating the clock today at Leichhardt.
Yeah, Seth Chris scored his 14th try. He is the leading try scorer for the Canberra Raiders. Not far behind him is this man, Hudson Young. Spoke about his form after his pass. Got the one of the earlier tries, and then this time just, well, that's a little bit embarrassing there, so close to the line. Polar, who got himself in a position to make a tackle and just allowed him to bounce away. Hudson Young, outstanding season, great player, but shouldn't have been able to score the try that easy. Just spun his way out of the tackle and gets it down. You're right, the Tigers were a big chance to give up one there after the Raiders had spent some time down that end, plenty of tackles, and the Tigers this afternoon just not up to that sort of effort to hold the Raiders out.
12 tries now for the season, Hudson Young. 8 in his last 9 games. He's great chasing through and a grubber, quite often a target on that left-hand side for Jack Whiten to roll one out into the end goal and get Hudson chase through. He's good at doing that, as you've seen just then. If your contact isn't square on, he bursts through a tackle pretty simply, as he did there. Converted once again by Jamal Fogarty. It's 30 points to nil after 28 minutes, Jake.
Hudson Young, his 12th try of the season. The last Raiders forward to score 12 tries in a season was Ben Kennedy all the way back in 1997. It is looking really ominous here for the Tigers. And interestingly, the last time these two sides met at Leichhardt Oval was back in 2016, and the score that day, the Raiders won 52 points to 12 on a day that Joey Leilua threw that crazy flip pass to Jordan Ruffner. It's looking pretty ominous that we're heading towards a similar scoreline here today.
Maybe the weather's looking a little ominous as well. The ropes coming in. Sails wrapped up, motoring their way back to safe harbour. The Raiders then motoring their way to a massive victory right here. 30 points to nil, and
Well, this has the potential to get quite embarrassing for the Tigers. They were given up 70 just 2 weeks ago. Paws were losing it, but Savage comes up with it. Everything falling for the Raiders at the moment. And here is Frawley taking on the line himself and was just about away. Grabbed by a bootlace by Musgrove. Young, Savage back on the inside, keeps it alive. Chris fends away from the Marlaw. Laurie's there. Desperate last tackle by the fullback. Canberra have one more. Back to the short side. Frawley rubbering. Savage grabs it. They're turning it on. It's a one-way traffic. And there's nobody on the freeway in front of them, certainly wearing orange or black today.
Well, the Roosters scored 72 points against the Tigers back in round 23. It's only a fortnight ago. Short memories for the Tigers players. I think they all must have felt highly embarrassed at the SCG that night. Same thing could happen here. We're 34. We've still got 10 minutes left. They just marched up the field off the kickoff. That's another trial, a kickoff set. They get themselves 15 metres short of the try line on play 5. Lovely kick from Matt Frawley. Nicely handled there by Xavier Savage. Not much chance for Dane Laurie. And all too easy for the Raiders.
There are some good backup halves in the competition. Young Raiders fans loving it. Make your own horn and blow as loud as you can here today. Matt Frawley, in 7 games he's backed up prior to today as far as filling in for whether it's Whiten. He played a couple of games at the start of the season after the injury to Josh Hodgson, filling in at hooker. He was the first port of call for Ricky Stewart to be the number 9 potentially ongoing once they lost Hodgson, of course, to the ACL injury. Here's Fogarty again, who makes it 36 points to nil, and we've had just over 30 minutes. They're outpacing the clock by some stretch.
Yeah, I'm searching for something, some positives here for the Tigers. The fact that they will have the breeze in the second half might be a good thing, but that is clutching at straws, isn't it?
I mean, we always try and wait for the breeze and say, what do you think this breeze is worth? I don't know that it's worth 40.
That's counting too. We might get the 5th.
Oh, we might well do. A reminder of week 1. Yes, the Panthers and the Eels. Oh, it's a blockbuster. Sharks and Cowboys would be a beauty down there in the Shire. Storm and the Raiders with all their history. And, well, speaking of history, no 2 teams have it the way the Roosters and the Rabbitohs do. It's raucous at times. Friday night at the Randy Allianz Stadium. We'll get a do-over next weekend once we have the allotment of the games, the schedule for week 1. It's the hour after full-time here between the Raiders and the Tigers. The Raiders now they're headed to Melbourne. That much is certainly clear. What day we decided, and here is Wolfen, they're up and running again. It's embarrassing. Fogarty will score. He grabs their 7th try in the opening half an hour here. Have you seen the likes of this any time in recent times?
No, I can't remember. What was the score at half-time between the Roosters and the Tigers? I don't know if it was this big. 14-0. We've still got 8 minutes left, and it's another try off the back of a kick-off set. They can't defend one set, the Tigers. Zach Wolford throws the dummy, breaks out of a pretty soft tackle. Fogarty, Xavier Savage is there. He had his choice to pick who was going to get the ball. Tuolangi's running backwards. He gets in the road of Jake Simpkin, who misses the player. He's opposite number, and Fogarty just looms up in support. It's as easy as that. It's like an opposed session with no opposition.
I'll be an opposed session against witches' hats.
Well,
honestly, at the moment. It's hard to...
Old tackle pads, when you used to just stand them up along the line. And
really is hard to believe what we're seeing, and I'm sure Ricky Stewart was expecting a lot more out of the Tigers coming here this afternoon.
I'm sure Brett Kamali was as well.
Imagine if things were reversed and it was the Raiders who were chasing 54 points, not the Broncos this weekend, and here we are at 40 points to nil.
What the hell? No, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh my God.
From round 23, Roosters only led 13-0 at half-time in that clash at the SCG. They wanted to score 42 points in the second half. Well, the Raiders have done that here in the first half. We still have 7.5 remaining.
Well, they've just scored 3 tries from kick-off sets, so if that keeps going, we could have anything. And while the Tigers have experienced the 72 points scored against them in round 23, the Raiders, this will be something new. I don't know what the Raiders' biggest score is, but it's been a while since they've scored this in the first half.
Go to the record books there in a moment here. So as you said, Raiders are a repeat set. They scored off the back of that. They scored again off the next set, and they scored again off the set after that for 3 in a row. And see what they can manage here. Horsburgh, who was pivotal in the big meters they got before the bust. Now here he is again. They can't get him to ground. It's just a mismatch physically. Right across the patch.
Well, we just had a shot of James Tarmo. He's probably wishing now that he did get the 2 weeks and then he didn't get it.
Yes, having second thoughts about winning that battle at the judiciary to be available to be able to play today in his final game as a Tiger. Here's Fogarty. One more to hang on to the Tigers. Fogarty comes up with it. He finds Halloween and Niner off the Tiger. Timothy play on. Gula is there. Was it 6 again? No, it wasn't. And the Tigers have managed and get a Bronx cheer from the crowd. Hang on. Now the Raiders are going to challenge just for an insult and injury to the Tigers. I don't think I've ever heard that. A cheer, a mocking cheer from the home crowd for the team actually defending a set of 6.
The Corey passes the ball. It comes off the head of Luke Garner. The ball is not played out. It's still the last tackle.
And that's what it will be. Gula dies with the ball, so it'll be the Tigers' ball. They thought it might have come off Garner. In fact, it did.
The challenge is unsuccessful.
So again, the cheer goes up. The Tigers manage to actually defend a set of 6 and not concede 4 tries in 4 sets of 6. I don't think I've ever seen it. Maybe 3. I don't think I've ever seen 4 back to back to back to back. 6 out from half time. In the Marlins. Tigers finally get possession. They've completed 6 of 9 sets in this first half before this point. The Raiders are 14 from 15 and have scored tries in almost half of those sets of 6 that they've had. 7 tries from 15 total sets. It's incredible. 2-11. Starting for the Northern Beaches. 2023. Here is Musgrove. Hanging around for the Tigers. Signed until the end of 2024. Madden now. He kicks from the halfway line. Will hang there in the breeze for Xavier Savage. And well, no doubt the Raiders are licking their lips here. Despite beginning 70 metres away from the Tigers line. Themselves in here to score. Takes a carry.
It got really cold. I was shaking. I was freezing to death. My dad is going up and the Raiders up 8-42. It's not in the second half yet. Look how long. It's not in the second half yet. And that's the score. Not in the second half. It's still the first half. No, 42-0. Oh, we can tell. The Raiders play Storm next week then.
Giving up 4 points. There are minutes on the clock in the first half.
What?
Crawley puts it up. Here comes Rapper and also Chris. Chris had a chance at bringing it down. Going to be a knock on here against the Tigers. Yes, it is. Given the scoreline, even the Raiders aren't celebrating. Giving up the possession. Well, Sebastian Chris is not celebrating because He is very promptly on that left ankle.
Bella also told me you were gay.
To the turf.
Hey,
More than accurate like that.
this is the first time I found that. Would you say that's embarrassing for the West Tigers?
No more than it was for fucking Cricket last night.
You shut up about that one. That's past now. It's a new day.
Hey, I didn't put that there making you stand. It's too bad. Just don't, I don't want them anyway. They're supposed to be on fucking diets and shit.
Dad, is that embarrassing since
Right,
it's...
no one's going to help you do it. You do the whole lot yourself. Look at me. You clean up every single fucking thing you do. Off you go. I mean it, Paige. You fucked them up. Don't ask to ever cook them again, and you will clean up everything. I mean, you will rinse up your bowls, everything.
Oh, are we making cookies?
Oh, she is.
Oh. Do I get some...
Only put those fucking nuts in half of them.
Hey, Dad.
Because not everybody likes them. We didn't buy any chocolate ones or anything.
Dad, we need to actually stick to our diet.
Don't wreck that fucking receipt because that's for your Roblox card. Mum bought it for you because you weren't going to cook, but now you're cooking, you're not getting it. Mum bought it because you weren't going to cook, but now you're cooking, you don't get it.
Hey, Dad.
Because we knew you'd act like a 2-year-old. And Mum goes, this will shut her up. But it didn't, did it?
Hey, Dad.
So now you can wait for it. You can go get your $10 one and...
Hey, Dad. Are we...
Here's the receipt.
Dad.
No, there's nothing tomorrow because you got school tomorrow.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Hey, Dad. We need to try and stick to our diet, Dad.
Who was taken out.
Really?
Like I bought you $25.
At Brett Naden, is it
I
any
was going to
interference?
buy myself $10 one.
Hey, Dad.
So you got more and it cost you nothing. What are you into then?
I said I was going to buy it.
You're not listening to what I said. I said, why are you whingy when you got more and it cost you nothing?
That's exactly what it will be.
Hey, baby. Yeah, you're kidding.
2 minutes 13 of time.
And now it costs you nothing and you got more.
Historical depths, if you like, as far as the Tigers are concerned.
Right, then you clean up your mess. Every single fucking bit of it. I mean...
What that means you do like a
Yeah, I prefer a coffee than fucking cookies.
And we need to actually stick to our diet, Dad.
You can't. You've proven that you can't do it, so...
We can. As of today now. As of today, I said.
I'm sure that like the rest of it.
Are you?
Massive 12-car accident.
Okay, read. Don't you dare oh, damn, what was I say?
Holds up the ball there and Xavier Savage. Last play, wrap it up. Rubbers. Is it too big? Yes, it is. And again, the G will go up to the Tigers fans. They did defend a set of 6 inside their own 20. Back-to-back sets of 6. So
There's been an improvement from the Tigers defensively in the last 5 minutes. Brent Naden with a good quick tap and a good run off the back. But yes, the speed that they need.
Do you reckon you could do it though? Have a 42-0 lead at halftime? Huh? And if you're the coach of the Raiders there or the Warriors, would the other teams even score? Or would you be too good? Hey Mum, what's for dinner?
I don't know if I'd go down. I might stay upstairs for this one.
You might do the old, you guys get yourself into this mess, stay on the field, talk about it amongst yourselves on the field at half-time. That's probably what I'd call it. Here's Locke. Goes to Tuolunni. That at the back to go up the tunnel at half-time. Here's the full-back out of dummy half, rubbering, or chance there. Well fielded though by Hudson Young. He has great hands. It's his goal line or the opponent's goal line. James Tarmo, he's got his head in his hand because at the break, the Tigers, they've been pantsed. It's 42 points to nil at halftime here on the Sunday team.
First 40 minutes there, West Tigers pathetic.
What? I don't give a fuck what you do today. I told you. Either way,
I'm concerned you're going to have to be doing it all fucking school. Fuck's sake.
For their last game, the fans have turned up. They turned up to watch a bit of a performance, and 42-0 at half-time is absolutely pathetic, as you said. I mean, it's embarrassing. 72 points to 6 only a couple of weeks ago. Last game at home, they turned up and they absolutely let everyone down in that jersey.
What the unacceptable part, not only is the first half an embarrassment, the club at the moment and what they're dishing up in the competition is embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they cannot get to the off-season quick enough.
Terrible. First 40 minutes was absolutely horrendous there in the West Tigers. Earlier, the Sharks secured a home semi-final against Newcastle Knights. Let's hear what their coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, had to say.
Yeah, set up these
80 trips, Bella.
Which from a few years ago, I got one of those tight ropes put in, so he's had surgery, so the integrity of that actually has kept it together quite well. So we'll just see how much he's stood up at this stage, but it's still, I mean, he'll have to bleed over the next couple of days and we'll see where he gets to. Yeah, wanted to sign off on a good season with a win and earn the right to play at home. We've done that. The most important thing today was getting that victory to earn that right. The stakes obviously go right up, pressure goes right up. It's the standard of the contest will too, so we're ready.
There he is, the Sharks celebrating, finishing second in the regular season. What a season they've had. Craig Fitzgibbon absolutely outstanding, leading the club and his team to a successful year and year one as a rookie coach. It's been
fantastic to watch those. Starting to build a tremendous culture there. The players are loving it. You see the emotion here in the dressing room. They're a happy football club. They're defending well for each other. So they're one of the best defensive sides all season. As Craig Fitzgibbon there says, they're ready. They are ready for next weekend. They play the Cowboys at home in front of their home fans, and they're 80 minutes away from going to a proven final if they can get the job done against the Cowboys. It's been a tremendous effort from the club and from the players, and in particular their new coach, Craig Fitzgibbon.
And here are the fixtures for the finals next week. We don't know times and days yet, but here are the sides. Panthers taking on the Eels. We've got the Sharks up against the Cowboys. Storm v Raiders, the form of the Raiders here in his first half shows that they'll put up a fight next week, and the big one to finish off. Roosters up against the Rabbitohs. Will the Rabbitohs hit back after last week's loss to the Roosters?
Well, you just look at that, the matchups there. I mean, the Eels have beaten the Panthers twice this year, the only team to do so. The Raiders have beaten the Storm 4 times in Melbourne. And the matchup between the Roosters and Rabbitohs, I mean, it's a sparkling matchup first round of the semi-final.
Are you being a pain?
No, I just asked Mum to watch Buddy Villando's
Right here on Fox. It's going to be a big one. We're going to get to a break after it. Or before it, sorry, the Heineken Dutch Grand Prix is live tonight, 9:30 p.m. Watch all the action live. And at break 3 in 4K Ultra HD on Channel 506. Oh, 0-0.
Hey, Dad. You know how the Cowboys won last night? And they said the Cowboys were getting a home final? They're not. Because the Sharks are getting a home final since then, the top 2. And Dad, do not the funny part is there? Every time the Sharks have made the top 2, finished in the top 2, they have made the grand final. You don't care. At least I caught that on that quickly.
What?
At least I catch that on, you don't care.
It's time to get your game on, because the Monopoly game at Macca's is back. And with $578 million in prizes out for grabs, you could win free fuel for a year with Ampol, a new Volkswagen Polo GTI with 5-year care plan and more. Download the My Macca's app and play the Monopoly game today.
Aussies need to keep going their own way.
Yeah.
They can't afford not to. They're saving lives on our beaches, inspiring the next generation, and nurturing and protecting the ones we love the most. That's why at our Isuzu unit, we offer a 6-year warranty, up to 7 years roadside assist, and up to 7 years cap price servicing.
Samsung mobile phone destination. For 5 days only, get the new Samsung Galaxy Z series and receive bonus Harvey Norman gift cards. Get the Galaxy Z Flip 4 and receive a bonus $300 gift card. Or the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and get a bonus $400 gift card. That's right, bonus gift cards up to $400 when you buy either the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 or Z Fold 4. Hurry, offer ends Tuesday. Get in store or online at Harvey Norman now.
I have very dry, patchy skin.
I went to a dermatologist. He recommended CeraVe.
What sets CeraVe apart are the ceramides.
People are like raving about CeraVe.
I was like, oh my gosh, I need that glow. It encompasses everything that the skin needs to be well hydrated. The way it takes off my makeup is incredible.
I have been actually recommending it to all my friends.
Her skin routine is so amazing, her skin's so flawless. I say a few tips from her.
Get CeraVe for a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
With 3.5-ton towing capacity and trailer sway control, the Isuzu D-Max is born to tow.
Crispy bacon and juicy Aussie beef. What a satisfying sizzle. The sound so sweet. Need I say more? Let hard work define you. But reward yourself when the job is done.
Choose VB for me. A male grooming range made with beer.
Why? I've earned it. Light and Easy partners with home care package providers, so all Australians can have affordable access to healthy, delicious meals. Home care package recipients can even save 70% off the cost. For more information, call 13 15 12.
Hi, Tyler.
Harvey Norman, your Samsung mobile phone destination. For 5 days only, get the new Samsung Galaxy Z series and receive bonus Harvey Norman gift cards. Get the Galaxy Z Flip 4 and receive a bonus $300 gift card. Or the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and get a bonus $400 gift card. That's right, bonus gift cards up to $400 when you buy either the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 or Z Fold 4. Hurry, offer ends Tuesday. Get in store or online at Harvey Norman now.
What a beautiful bacon and eggy breakfast! And a hash brown on the cafe coffee for your chance to win with a lovely game at Macca's. Take a winning chance at Brekkie today.
Welcome back, Corey, taking us through the Harvey Norman half-time highlights. Yeah, it didn't take long for the green machine to get on the board. It was first through Timicor down that right-hand side. I mean, they were going at a point a minute. Not long after, 7 tries in the first half to the Canberra Raiders. Back down this left-hand side. Seth Chris able to cross over for the Canberra second try. As I said, it was raining tries for the Canberra Raiders, 7. And down this right-hand side, Costry just goal line defence just wasn't there for the Tigers, and they just kept going.
I put in some meat because I used to have bottles in my room.
Some of the skill and some of the tries that they've scored have been tremendous. Hudson Young having
Hey, Dad.
a great season.
What teams have you invented there? Huh? What teams have you invented, you say? What, they invented the Warriors? There? Huh? They invented the All Blacks? The All Blacks? What about the Australia? What about the Australia?
It's an absolute cricket score at Leichhardt. Records could be broken in the second half. Stick around. Kick off. He's there.
Oh, Mum, they're saying the record could be broken. Oh, Bora, I'm going for the Canberra Raiders, Mum. Today. So go to Raiders, Dad. Say it. Say it, Dad. Dad. Say go to Raiders. Good. At least you're not going for the West Tigers today. Because if you actually went for the West Tigers today, then you suck. Oh,
And I was like, oh my gosh, I
Hey, Mum.
need that glow. It encompasses
You know what's quite funny as well, Mum?
everything
'Cause
that needs to be well hydrated. The way it takes off my makeup
Yeah,
is
Mum.
incredible.
And it's funny as well, Mum. Because 2 weeks ago, Mum.
Her skin's so flawless. I say a few tips from her.
Get CeraVe for
And Mum.
a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
And Mum, it's quite funny as well, because 2 weeks ago, Mum, the Richards Bay, they rated 72.6. It looked like we might have another big game here.
for less than you expect
Hey, Dad.
on a range of 5G phones
Do I know you?
$99.
I don't understand. I don't know my own. Pick it up. No, pick it up. That one. Pick it up. Yeah. No, pick it up.
Can I get an extra $5?
For where?
I want to buy my 800.
Harvey Norman, your
One.
Samsung mobile phone
But
destination. For
I
5
already
days
have
only.
10
Get the
bucks
new
and it
Samsung
costs
Galaxy Z series and receive
Did you not just get $25?
I know, but I told you I wanted my 800
receive a
bucks.
bonus $300 gift card.
But you guys
For the
never-
Galaxy Z Fold 4,
I
and get a
needed
bonus
it.
$400 gift card.
Why
That's
can't
right.
you just
For
say
those gift
you
cards
only
up
get
to
the $5
$400 when you buy either the new Samsung Galaxy Z
Because
Flip 4
Right.
or Z Fold 4. Hurry, offer ends Tuesday.
I needed to
Get
get
in store or
something.
online at
Guys, I don't have the fucking money. You know I'm not working. You're lucky to even get the money I give you every fucking week now.
They can't afford not to. They're saving lives on
I
our
have an
beaches,
extra $5.
inspiring the
away.
next generation. And
So hey, how are you going to put it in your account? I told you I'm going to put my card on your account.
You can just transfer it to Mom.
But it costs you more than what you fucking say all the time. Every fucking time it costs you way more than what you say, doesn't it?
No, it actually costs $15 off Mom.
Didn't Mum just give you $25?
Part of your top end, the rough track, up and back, down,
I
down the
was
hoop,
gonna
well,
give
that's
her
good.
my
Chuck, you're going
$10.
back to where you started. That's why you got to go Tradie Bamboo. Tradie Bamboo.
Dad.
rough track. Get 'em?
It costs more once you put the card on it there.
Let hard work define you. But reward yourself when the job is done.
Choose VB Connect, a male grooming range made with beer.
Why? I've earned it.
And what is that?
The quarter pounder
Oh, yes, please.
familiar from
I could have done
fresh lettuce and tomato. It's the
You know that one
juicy
when you
beef
have
patty.
Thank you.
That's where it earns the deluxe title.
Update your laundry now.
Oh, white-
Harvey
white
Norman.
choice on white choice.
$600 on selected meal
The
and
best
baby
choice
packs.
all day.
Like this
Sitting out for that, the
meal
best
front
choice.
loader and heat pump
I
drive.
have all day.
This Samsung pack, just $2,694 plus $200 cash back. Receive up to a bonus $200 gift card on selected
Fine,
laundry
bingo.
packs. Like this
Give it
king
dry.
size LG pack, now
You're gonna sit there now
$3,096. Or this stunning Fisher & Paykel graphite pack plus bonus $200 gift card. See the specialists now at Harvey Norman.
I felt so insecure about my hair. I just stopped going out. And I even missed my best mate's 21st. I thought that's it, I needed to do something.
Make today your turning point, and the doctors Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
The Monopoly game at Mac is back, and with $558 million worth of prizes, you could win a $10,000 Webjet gift card, free fuel for a year with Ampol, and more. Download the MyBackers app and play today.
This is the Sunday ticket. We've got 4 minutes remaining in the minor premiership for this season, and the Tigers are remain taking on the Raiders. My goodness, if you missed the first half, and especially if you're a Canberra fan, might want to catch the highlights because it's 42 points to nil. 7-30 drives. Maybe that running with the breeze was worth 42 points. So I guess we'll find out because it was quite a one-way track. And the opening half, the Tigers, it could get embarrassing if they can't.
Mum, you don't go Ubering till at 6. Mum.
You might. You're right, what? You're not going to get him every fucking day. Fucking I should too.
Okay,
Look,
lads.
who's delivering their food. Look at this.
Lads, can you guys shut up for bitches for a minute?
Here today at Leica, they leapfrogged the Rabbitohs into 7th position, which would make it the Roosters playing the Raiders, and then Melbourne playing South Sydney in Melbourne.
Oh.
The Rabbitohs,
What the hell just happened?
I'm guessing the Tigers are
What the? Hey, Dad.
points unanswered.
They're just changing now. Because of how the Canberra Raiders are going. They brought the Canberra Raiders up against the Roosters. Rabbitohs up against Melbourne now. Apparently. What the hell just happened?
It won't happen, but
Hey, Mum.
gives you a bit of perspective though as how bad the Tigers were in that first one. It does. You know, there was plenty of high points for the Raiders, but the low points certainly outnumbered that in terms of what the Tigers offered defensively, which was
Let them out, suck ass.
performing
Shit.
Yep, let her out. We're busy all fucking day.
So the Tigers do have a strong wind at their back. That's the one thing going for them as the second half begins.
They're supposed to go out and get $30 tips before the end of tomorrow, then extra rides.
I'm gonna get them chips and whatnot.
Okay, hey, fucking can you guys listen here? You guys don't go out Uber to get tips, Mom. Yes, you did. Hey, Mom. The Canberra Raiders, huh? Oh yeah. Hey, Mom. The Canberra Raiders, Mom, was supposed to go up against Storm next week, but now they changed it to Roosters and Canberra, Melbourne and South Sydney. Yeah. Huh? Oh, cause yeah, cause I think Canberra's gone to 7th position maybe. Yeah, cause it's the ladder, it's the position, so.
They're sitting on the ladder, yeah, I realise that, because it's obviously changed where they're sitting, so that's why the teams are changed.
Yeah, cause
It goes from where they're sitting in the ladder to the other ladder.
Yeah, cause I'm pretty sure Canberra goes on 7th or 8th position, cause Roosters on, I think 6 maybe, not exactly sure, I think 6, and oh yeah, Roosters on 6 now, and the Rabbitohs are on 7th position. Yeah.
3 tries back to back at one stage to really score out. Here's Elliott to do the same thing, and the knock on came from Zach Wilson. Backwards off the hands of Savvy, knocked on by the dummy half. Tigers here.
Oh no, it's still the same. It's still the same for the tumbling.
Territory.
I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. The Eels.
1 versus 4.
Oh. And what did they
That's
say?
what it's going. 2 versus 5.
And Mum, what did they say on the last one? Wait, did they? Who was that on the 7th one? Hey Mum, it's quite good, Mum, because it would always be like that now. It's always like that. So top 1, 2 plays each other.
You had the table where they're sitting.
Huh?
Bring up where they're sitting in the leaderboard. Can you bring up the table? Do you have on the phone?
I think.
To show you what order everyone's sitting.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll just go on to it right now.